God often tests you before he blesses you. To walk away from medical school, even though I'd spent the past 10 years of my life working up to this point, nothing changes if nothing changes. Instagram was my identity. It was my idol. Not about what you lose, but it's about what you gain. Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jisoo, and I am so happy that you are here. On this channel, I talk about all things self-development, becoming the best version of yourself, prioritizing your wellness, your health, and really taking responsibility for your life. If you want to make 2024 the best year of your life, please subscribe to this channel because we have so many amazing topics that we are going to be covering. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how God often tests you before he blesses you. We don't want to talk about sacrifices. We always just want to talk about how we can get without having to sacrifice anything. But I think what has really changed my life is when I actually offered something up to God and I sacrificed something that meant a lot for me to show him that I really trusted him and that I really wanted to put him first in my life. As I was growing in my faith, I really felt convicted by this one story in the Bible, and you probably heard of him. His name is Abraham. God promised Abraham that his descendants and that his family lineage would be so much more abundant than even the stars in the sky. The thing is that Abraham and his wife Sarah were very, very, very old, but they trusted that God would provide a son or a lineage through them. And so they kept on being faithful to God. And finally, when they were super old, I think they were like 80 or 90 years old, God finally blessed them with a child, Isaac. Now, Isaac was their miracle child. Abraham obviously really treasured Isaac and probably adored him so much because he knew that this was a blessing that he had been asking God for ages. But then one day, God tells Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, to basically kill his only son. I'm sure if I had been Abraham, I would have thought, what the heck, God? You literally gave me this one son and you promised me that you were going to bless my future generations through him. But Abraham was really faithful to God and he completely obeyed. He packed up all of his belongings. He took his son Isaac on a trip to the mountains and he was going to sacrifice and kill his only son that God had blessed him with. But right before Abraham was about to strike Isaac, God intervened and said, "Do not kill Isaac, Abraham." And God instead offered a ram to be a sacrifice instead of Isaac. And that was the moment that God knew that Abraham was truly faithful and truly trusting of God, and that he was willing to give up even the promises and the blessings that he had been given for God. Abraham was blessed for the rest of his life because he had proven to God that he was willing to sacrifice anything to show that he was loyal, faithful, and trusting to God. When I read this story in the Bible in 2021, I truly had chills that went through my spine because I knew that God was asking me for the same thing. The Isaac of my life was my social media. I was obsessed with my Instagram, curating the perfect feed of wanting a picture perfect life online. And so for me, my Instagram was my identity. It was my idol. It was everything to me. And there was no way I would ever delete it. But in that crazy moment, I knew that God was asking me to permanently delete all of my social medias, not even temporarily, but forever. I just knew that this was the biggest sacrifice I was ever going to have to make. And I knew that my decision to give up social media or my decision to not give up social media was going to change the course of my life. And before this, I was really living as a lukewarm Christian. I had grown up in the church and attending sermons and listening to worship music and occasionally reading my Bible, but I had not fully surrendered and committed my life to God and really put him at the center of everything. I was just in such a low place in my life, and I knew that I was asking and begging God constantly for months and even years to have a transformation in my life, to change my life. And so around April or March of 2021, I made the craziest decision ever: permanently delete my Instagram and my Facebook. For around 9 months, I did not have any social media. I didn't know who I was without posting photos and without sharing it online. I also quickly realized who my true friends were. I think it's very apparent and it's very different when you comment on people's stories or you swipe up on their stories. It's very different than actually texting someone and hanging around with them in real life and asking to catch up and grab coffee. And when I deleted my social media, I realized that I had a really big social circle, but I had no close friends, or I had very few friends. And so when I deleted my Instagram, my life was completely silent. Crickets for so many months. I had so many friends that I thought were my friends, but in reality, it was just social acquaintances. I had to actually face the reality of who I was, what I enjoyed, what I didn't like to do, the struggles that I was going through, my limiting beliefs. I started to go to therapy. I started to transition to a plant-based diet. I slowly began to heal my relationship with food, my relationship with my body. I started to work on my self-worth and my self-image, and I really had to shed the self-guilt, the self-shame, and really be empowered by who God was actually calling me to be. Then in January 2020, I felt this crazy calling by God to actually go back on social media, which was so wild because I thought that when God had asked me to delete my social media, I was never going back on. But I clearly heard God saying, Jisoo, I want you to go back on social media, but with a different purpose and with a different intention. I want you to go back on social media not for you, but to inspire other people, to uplift other people, to share your story. So in February 2022, that is when I created my brand new Instagram account. I had no idea that I would be going into content creation. I started to share plant-based recipes, how I had changed my life, how I'd gone to therapy, how I'd done the inner work. I was just sharing my story to be a light for other people, not knowing that this was the path that God was going to take me on. But before God was going to use me in my social media platform, He wanted me to sacrifice it, to know that no matter what, at the end of the day, I was not going to put anything above Him. I knew that God was testing me before He knew He could bless me and trust me with this major platform. Moving forward, after I started my new Instagram account, I felt another calling on God, the second craziest decision and sacrifice of my life, to walk away from medical school, even though I'd spent the past 10 years of my life working up to this point, and to pursue content creation instead. Which was so wild because growing up as an Asian American, the only two options in my life was to become a lawyer or to become a doctor. I'd gone to college to become a doctor. I studied 2 summers to take the 8-hour exam to apply to medical school, but I knew in my heart that that was not where God was calling me at all. I had built up that muscle of courage to walk away from social media, so I used that same courage to walk away from medical school, and it was truly the best decision of my life. I remember telling my mom, emailing all of my professors, saying that I was not going to go to medical school and that I was going to become a content creator because I knew that this was where God wanted me to go. And everyone thought I was crazy. For the first year, I saw no results. I had maybe 4,000 followers on Instagram, and then overnight, after around a year, in January 2023, my Instagram blew up and I had gained over 90,000 followers in less than 3 months. I'd quit my job in a grocery store and I started to become a full-time content creator. And that is a story of how God works in your life, about how God tests you, asks you to sacrifice something before He can bless you. I had grown up my entire life wanting to take control over my life, but it was only when I completely surrendered my sense of control to God, that is when I saw true transformation in my life. I saw peace, I saw joy, I saw freedom. It's not to say that I didn't have hardships, that I didn't have struggles, but it's less about questioning what I am actually doing and more about questioning the speed of where things are going. And I know that's another thing that I have to surrender, is surrendering my timeline. So if there's one thing that I learned in the past couple of years where I've had the courage to be bold and take risk and truly allow God to shape and mold and guide my life, it's that nothing changes if nothing changes. And if you are in a season of being tested, surrender that one thing that you feel like you can't give up, because that is the one thing blocking you into truly allowing God to bless you in the way that He wants to. So in 2024, I really want to challenge you. If this is a year where you want everything to change, I know that God has already put something in your heart that He wants you to sacrifice, whether it's a relationship, to walk away from that person, whether it's to walk away from a certain career, from a certain job, from a certain school, from certain friendships, whatever is on your heart that God is tugging you, where He's saying, I want you to surrender. I'm testing you to see if you can really trust and be loyal to me. And I know it can be scary to make a huge jump about leaving a job or leaving a person or making a massive life change and transformation. Ask God to give you the strength and the courage to make tiny little steps to get there. Give me the strength to reprioritize everything in my life, to let go and sacrifice certain things, because it's not about what you lose, but it's about what you gain. It's about gaining freedom and joy and purpose and a sense of peace. There's so many things that I've gained. God is actually asking you to sacrifice these things in order to gain more clarity, to gain more freedom, in order to gain more peace and love and joy and satisfaction in life. And so I'd love for you to comment below what you are going to sacrifice, whether it be the next 21 days or this year, or if you know deep inside that you need to be walking away from a certain thing in your life. I would love to pray for you. So please comment below what you are sacrificing. I want to be there and I want us to encourage one another in the comments below. So if you found this video helpful and you also want to go on a self-growth, self-development journey and truly become the best version of yourself in 2024, let's do it together. Like and subscribe, join this community community. We are all leveling up as one. I'm truly rooting you on. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you next time. Bye.